Hey everyone, just wanted to make a quick little video to explain a little bit about how we read primary sources or how we should read them. And it's a lot more difficult than it sounds. It's not as intuitive as some people think. So I'm going to give you a few tips on how to do it, and hopefully that'll help you out a little bit as you work through your reader. So first of all, I'd like to talk just a little bit about what is a primary document or a primary source. Basically, a primary document or source is a document from the past that allows us to learn more about what was going on at that time or at the time it was written. They do carry a sense of authority because they're written by people who were alive at that time. It's from their own words, and every historian uses primary documents. Here's one example. This is a book, a pretty well-known book called A Nation Under Our Feet. Sorry, it's backwards. But you can see in the back, this book is about how African Americans were able to increase their own political authority from slavery up until the early 20th century. And you can see here in the index, they have a list of all of the sources and primary sources that they've used to gather their information. So it's pretty essential to what a historian does. And I think it's important for everyone to learn how to read these because it teaches some basic analytical and critical thinking skills that will serve you in whatever you choose to do. Primary sources almost always, if not always, have a purpose, and they're not objective. Everyone's got a goal that they're trying to accomplish when they write these. They do carry a point of view, and oftentimes that point of view is not even recognized by the person who's writing it. Like a letter or a journal entry does have some sort of point of view. It's trying to accomplish some sort of objective or purpose that the writer may not be conscious of. A journal entry would be a lot different than, say, a political speech, which absolutely would be trying to accomplish something. So you want to ask yourself, as you're going through these documents, what is the purpose of this document? What is it trying to do? What is this person trying to say? Who wrote it? When was it written? What was going on around them at the time? What's the context in which it was written or spoken? And finally, what is the intention of the writer or speaker? And you'll also want to ask yourself as you're going through these, what is the text or the speech or the video or the picture? What is this trying to accomplish? Right? What is it doing? Is kind of the essential question, which is a lot different than what is the text saying. That's just the words on the page. But what is the text doing is something else. So we're going to be working through that as we look through these primary sources that we have. Also, so there's different levels of reading, and I'm taking this from a website that I'll refer to on Blackboard. I'm going to put this all in a handout that you can read. But the first level is reading for context. So you're asking yourself, why does this matter? Who is this person? Why are they important? Why is the date or the period in which it was produced important? Where was it written? Why is that place significant? And then you bring all that together to answer the question, why is this document important? So that's the first level. Second level of reading is read for meaning. In this one, it's a little bit more complicated. You're trying to get at what is the main idea? What is the big picture of this document? And this will help the more difficult sections of the document become more clear. You'll be able to figure out what the intention is a little bit better. And then also, what is the genre? This is fairly straightforward. Is this a newspaper article? Is it a journal entry? Is it a speech? Is it a letter? Is it a picture? all those types of things. So a little bit more straightforward. But that can also help you to get at what the intention of this document is. All right, third level. What is the argument? How is this person constructing their argument? What evidence do they use? What examples are they using? And also, do these examples do they add up to the conclusion? Does the conclusion work based on the examples that are provided? Sometimes they won't. Sometimes it's something that's very poorly argued, very poorly written, and the evidence is all over the place, so that the conclusion, when they finally do get there, it just doesn't make sense. So you want to watch for those. Like I said earlier, primary sources, they do carry a lot of authority because they were written by the person at that time, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that they're helpful in the information that they give all the time. All right, and then the fourth level is supposedly the most complicated, and that is reading it like a historian. And in this one, you apply what you learn from the first, second, and third steps. What do you know about the author? What biases do they have? That sort of thing. And that's not always easy to do. It's not always easy to pick out what the intention was, because frankly, that person's been dead for a long time, and you can't go back and ask him. And then finally, you have to ask yourself, is this actually important? Does this get at what I'm trying to accomplish? And sometimes you'll find that it doesn't, or it contradicts what you're trying to get at. Right now, I'm working on a project, and I found a primary document that I thought would be really, really helpful. Turns out it says nothing about the topic that I'm writing about, so it's not very useful. But also, you can find a primary document that you think will help you make your argument, and it doesn't say anything about what you thought it would say. And in that case, the silence can also speak volumes. Like, why did they not say anything about it? What did they say about it? Why did that take precedence over this other topic that I'm trying to learn more about? So that's something to keep in mind also. The other thing too is one final note is context is very important when we read these things, because you have to remember these people did not live in a vacuum, much like we don't live in a vacuum, right? There's all kinds of things that influence our way of thinking and our behaviors, and it's the same for them. And those influences are much different than they are for us. So we can't assume that that people think the same way that we do, right? So there is some elements of psychology that go into this, a little bit of mind reading, and you can get into that by looking for clues that help you along the way. For example, if somebody keeps repeating the same thing over and over again, then you know that that's important to them, and you can start to pave a trail to their way of thinking. So you may hear my son crying in the background, so I think that means my time is up. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Like I said, I'm going to post a handout of all this up on Blackboard, so hopefully that will be helpful. But yeah, enjoy reading these primary sources. I think they're great. They're very helpful to understand what was going on at that time. And if you need any more help, we'll of course continue to talk about how to read these as the session goes on, but I hope you enjoy reading them. Thank you.